7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
All right, and welcome to another edition of the Vegas Squares podcast. It's our golf betting edition. Here we are back after the PGA Championship. The first major is in the books, and Collin Morikawa with a signature win. Congratulations to him. I would say Las Vegas is own, even though he grew up in California, but he is part of a home club here in Las Vegas. We are back in the virtual Zoom studio here. We've got myself, we've got Token Tony, and we've got Tony Johnson. I want to say thanks again to John Parr last week for coming aboard the podcast. Really enjoyed having him. Hopefully we can have him in future events. But gentlemen, let's just talk about this, real briefly. PGA was fantastic. I think we had a great weekend. A lot of sweats, a lot of bets. How'd it go for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, props were great again, as lately they have been. Matchups were almost perfect as well, so.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good to hear. You did better than me, Token. I basically broke even. Was very close with Paul Casey there at the end. That would have been nice.
Same here. I tailed you on that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I picked up Matthew Wolff at 100 after his second birdie on the day. So that would have been kind of fun too. But, yeah, as you said, I mean, I did really well on the props. I did not. I went 1 and 2, I believe, on matchups. And then, of course, bricked all the futures, but as you said, the props are really where it's at, especially in the majors when there's so many options. So great. So, and had the same prop this week that I had last week, same number, same guy, everything else. So we'll get to that a little bit later.
Okay.
And Token, your hole-in-one prop hit. You had a little sweat there, though.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it had to come in the fourth round by Mr. On.
Yeah.
So.
Benny On. Yep.
Nicely done.
And I got it at a little better price instead of plus 110. It went up to 115 when I bet it. So
there you go.
Better.
All right, so this week is the Wyndham Championship. I want to touch on a couple things with the PGA before we dive into that. The Wyndham Championship in North Carolina. But, Collin Morikawa just put on a hell of a show. This kid's, 22, 23 years old. And in that moment, the two shots that he had, the chip in and the beautiful drive on 16, it's just, it's crazy that of all the people, and this is not a disrespect to Morikawa because it looks like he might be one of the up-and-coming stars on tour, but of all the people, we saw as many as 8 people tied for the lead at one point. I did not think he would be the one to emerge from that. To be honest with you, I thought maybe Bryson might actually, this would be we'll talk about this in a second, but I'm really tired. I'm getting real tired of the Koepkas and even the announcers just picking on this guy. It's like low-hanging fruit right now.
Yeah, it is.
I was kind of rooting for him just because these guys need to shut up for a little bit.
Exactly, yeah.
And I like Brooks Koepka, but he went a little too far, especially given his fourth-round performance.
Yeah. I mean, he was a 2-time defending champion, and they kind of wanted to see a 3-peat, and that was not going to happen once Koepka started coming off the rails, so.
Well, I wasn't rooting against him. I just felt like, the things he said, and it's, depending on who you ask, it might be much ado about nothing. But, when you're asked a question like that and you kind of try to put other people down to lift yourself up. Yeah, you have 4 majors. That's fantastic. Everybody's very proud of you. You can rest on those without having to talk shit about other people. The ant troll job was funny. But this, the whole, I look at the leaderboard and DJ and it just rubbed me the wrong way, and especially as somebody who roots for Brooks Koepka. I hope this isn't a trend for him. I know it's a cocky attitude, it's a swagger, and he likes being the bad guy, but I don't love it. I don't really like bad guys in golf.
Well, I mean, to defend him a little bit, not that I'm trying to, because I agree, I thought he went a little too far. He answered a question that he was asked. The question was asked to him, who do you think, what do you think about the people that are there, right around you? And, he answered the question, do we, we should at least be happy that people are answering honestly.
Answer.
Yeah, it was that's the way he feels. That's what I like about Brooks, is that he's yeah, he doesn't mind having the bad guy image, things like that. But I think he's just being himself. I think that's the way he is, and it's nice. It's refreshing to at least
Sure.
have guys be the way they are. Again, I agree. I saw McIlroy's comments based on that, and I'm more with Rory. I don't think it's necessary to be able to put people down, or
I didn't love the Rory quote of like, I don't really like to disrespect people in golf, but then he turns around and disrespects Brooks. I understand
True.
maybe that was a little
Fair point.
warranted, but it seemed a
Fair
little
point.
hypocritical.
No, fair point.
I guess it's hypocritical on my point because I want that out of my other sports stars. I want that out of my baseballs, my footballs, my hockey. I want the truth of what they're really thinking, even if it is cocky and arrogant. I probably wouldn't even have this conversation or even have brought this up if Brooks Luck shot even par or 1 under on the day. But the fact that he shot 4 over really, kind of twists the knife. You talk all that shit and then you come out and lay that clunger. I mean,
for sure. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. But again, let's also remember what Paul Casey and many other guys have said. They really enjoy playing with Brooks. He's a top end guy in regards to being on the course. He's always there playing very fast golf, very fair golf. He's called penalties on himself multiple times. He is a legit guy from what I understand. So, props to him at least for being that kind of guy.
Sure, but the fans don't unfortunately get to hear a lot of that.
Fair point.
But I don't know. To me, again, like I said, I don't like bad guys in golf. Any of them, anybody to be a bad guy. I like the cordial nature of the game.
Yeah.
But do you feel like the PGA? And this is a put my tinfoil hat on. But do you feel like the PGA maybe goes to some of these guys and says, "Hey, why don't you put on this face?" Like, I don't want to say it's like WWE, but are there storylines in that? Like, hey, we need some characters on tour. I mean, the only thing I know about Bowling Token is Pete Weber, and that's because he's eccentric as hell. So, I mean, I wonder if the PGA Tour has thoughts like that.
Probably, yeah. I mean, the ratings are up right now. They want to draw some fans in that normally aren't there probably when other sports are going. Why not? Why not try something new and try and get these fans like glued to it like a fly trap almost?
Yeah, that's fair.
Nice. I mean, golf is thriving. There's no question about it. We know play is up tremendously in this country. We have some figures from the UK. It's up almost 70% year over year in Great Britain. I mean, it's amazing how many more people are playing, whether that's new golfers, whether it's people that stopped playing the game for a while and are back in. So, yeah, I mean, the time is ripe. And it's really up to Brooks and everybody else. You are sort of your own brand in a way. You control, a lot of your own destiny in this sense. And again, almost every player on tour is playing for their card every single year. You're playing for your job. Brooks is not in that camp, certainly. But, a lot of guys are, and it matters what you do. And it matters, the sponsors that you have, if you can get sponsors exemptions, if you lose your card and things like that. These things all add up, and it's an important part. So, yeah, I'm not sure what is into play there. You certainly could be making a point. But Brooks is going to be himself and be who he is. And so I personally really like it. And I respect the guy immensely for what he is and what he means to the game.
Yeah, maybe I'm overreacting. It just, to me, again, and like I said, I might not even have had this conversation if he didn't go out and fire 4 over par.
Yeah.
But to me, it just felt like he's either one, being told to do this, or two, I'm just not in love with the attitude that he brings. But again, it might be an overreaction by me because I like watching him play golf. He's a fantastic golfer. So we'll have to see. Speaking of sponsors and brands, don't forget to pick up that Vice Golf apparel and Vice Golf balls. I'm loving this hat. I've been wearing it out on the course.
Nice. That's good.
But follow our promotional link on lvsquares.com in our sponsors tab, or every YouTube video that we have. The link is in that description as well. You can check that out. Also, I want to thank 12 Ounce Sports for airing us, as you can see, and Zingo TV, channel 761, every Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern and Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. All right, let's jump into this one because we do have a tournament this week. It is not a major, but it is the last week to qualify for the FedEx Cup playoffs. So there is going to be a thinner field because a lot of these guys have already qualified. They're releasing a lot of stress and tension after the major. They're taking a week off, but there's still a decent field in my opinion. And I know, Tony, you love every field every week, but let's talk about this from how do you say this? Sedgefield?
Sedgefield, yep.
Sedgefield? Okay. I just want to make sure because I figured I might butcher that. Sedgefield in North Carolina. Looks like a great little track, a little private course. I was looking at some of the aerial views and the bird's eye views. Pretty little area over there. And again, last week to qualify, we've got a couple guys, couple big names who are just on the outside looking in. But as we do every week, we turn it to Mr. Johnson, and he gives us a course outline of the Sedgefield Country Club.
Excellent. Yeah, this is another one of those spots. I love most of the courses they play. Certainly, this is no exception. Been watching this tournament now for many years. It's always one of those. I like the FedEx Cup movement, back and forth. Usually, guys are playing for their cards this week. Not quite so this year. Whoever had their card. Yeah. So. It's not as intense, but I mean, this is an intense week usually, and it's just a great course too. And as you said, Carolina style golf through and through, and tree lined type of fairways. You got sort of light wispy brush.
Dirty bunkers too.
Yeah, long dirty bunkers. It's just it's a cool place. Short course, but yeah, we'll get into that now. They've been playing here at Sedgefield since 2013. It was the Greater Greensboro Open and names like that beforehand, and they were playing at a few different courses. But it's been at Sedgefield now for a while, and I think it's going to stay. I know the players seem to love this place. Standard 156-player field. As we talked about, it's a squeeze spot here for getting into the FedEx Cup race. You need to get into the top 125 with FedEx Cup points. So anybody within about 20 spots, 140-ish or so, can get in with a win or a nice finish. And you can certainly get knocked out, of course, if a bunch of players behind jump forward. It's a par 70, 7,130 yards. It's up, I think, 3 or 4 yards from last year. They lengthened a tee box about 4 yards on one of the par 4s. It's a standard Donald Ross design. Went through a little bit of a change, I think, 10 years ago from what I understand, but it's still pretty tried and true to Donald Ross, which we'll see another Donald Ross design at East Lake for the Tour Championship. And we did just see one at the Rocket Mortgage. That is his spot there at Detroit Golf Club. So classic Donald Ross type of courses are usually a little bit tighter, more tree line than not, smallish greens, but rewarding second shots for the most part. Usually very fair courses. Nothing like Pete Dye or anything like that where you're trying to get in the heads of people. It's really usually right out in front of you, and this course is right in front of you. It's a fantastic place. Big key here: champion Bermuda greens, like we saw in Memphis a couple of weeks ago, and there are some specific golfers that tend to putt better on these types of greens, and a bunch of guys that tend to not putt as well on these greens. So we're going to be looking very focused on the southern and southeast type of players, guys that grew up in the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and even a little bit in Texas. So greens, as I said, a little bit smaller, about 6,000 square feet. They'll run about 12 on the stimp meter. Rough is just kept at 2.5 inches just for the members, the same point for the members as well. So pretty standard course setup here. It's just a fantastic little place. And second shot venue, as we talked about, hitting greens in regulation will be the key here. You can spray it off the tee a little bit, especially off to the right on some of these courses. We'll bring that up actually going forward with a couple of players that miss right more often than not. But guys are averaging about 13.5 greens in regulation for 18 holes here. So it's a green in regulation fest. Who can make the most putts? That'll be the case here. Getting into how many under par, I know we like to talk about that a little later, but 22 under won last year, 21 under the year before, and 22 under in 2017. So it's going to be a shootout fest, and I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we like weeks like this where you can go in and fire 20 under par. I know we've talked about we don't necessarily love them in the majors. We like good, hard golf that rewards good shots, a la number 16 for Colin Morikawa. Couple names that are just sitting on the cusp here. A couple names that you might know: Shane Lowry, Rafa Cabrera-Bello. Which Token, I hope you're fading this guy. He's not playing good golf.
I'm not on him.
Yeah, Shane Lowry, Rafa Cabrera-Bello, Sergio Garcia sitting on the outside there. Josh Teeter, one of your Corn Ferry boys.
Yep.
And Danny Willett, a favorite of the podcast here. A couple guys sitting in just inside the cut that, like you said, Tony, have to do some work to just stay in there is another one of Token's boys. Charles Schwartzel sits at 125th in the FedEx Cup standings.
I knew that.
And his boy Siwoo.
Yeah.
Yep. And Siwoo Kim, as well as Sam Burns, who is a guy I'll just say I like for this week as we talk more about the bets. So, again, there's some work to do for these guys to either get in or stay in. And it's an interesting weekend. Sergio Garcia actually famously last year finished just outside as well, missing the FedEx Cup playoffs for the first time in his career, or that they've existed. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
One thing I want to talk about when I was reading and doing some research this week, something I never heard of, the Wyndham Top 10. Never
Yeah.
heard of this.
Yeah, they just started it last year.
Okay.
It's just kind of a little bit of a bonus leading up into the actual FedEx Cup playoffs. But it's actually quite simple and pretty easy. It's basically a regular season points leader, if you will. Kind of like in your fantasy leagues, if you have a regular season, winner or whatever that maybe you pay out before the playoffs. Same type of thing. So they use the regular FedEx Cup points, and first through 10th place get paid all the way up through the last tournament before the playoffs, which is this Wyndham Championship.
Mhm.
And that's it. Only the top 10 get paid. It's a $10 million prize pool. First place is $2 million, all the way down to $500,000 for 10th. Top 5 get at least $1 million. This year, Brooks Koepka won it last year. This year, Justin Thomas has cemented in the win, first place. He cannot be caught since there's only 500 FedEx Cup points that go to the winner. So even if Morikawa at number 2 was playing, he still couldn't catch him. He's down
Still 56, yeah.
Yep. So Justin Thomas will get a cool $2 million, even while sitting on his couch this week, which is kind of nice.
Some life.
That is nice, isn't it? Yes. 4 guys in the top 10 are currently slated to play. Number 3, Webb Simpson. Number 5, Sungjae Im. Number 6, Patrick Reed. And number 9, Brendan Todd. There are 6 guys outside of the top 10 that are in the field that are mathematically able to jump into the top 10 with a good result. And so that's it. It's kind of a nice deal, and it's just a lump sum type of payout, and that's how it goes.
Looks like it kind of rewards players for playing more.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, I love that.
Yep,
So
I agree.
Get these guys in more tournaments. I mean, I don't remember. I mean, it seemed like for a while there, these guys were only gearing up for majors and the players, and it just didn't seem like the rest of the weeks were worthy to the casual fan of watching. So totally I like this. True. Like you said, you look at the top 10 and I mean, I've recognized every single guy, and I would say the casual golf fan probably recognizes at least 4 or 5 of them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, totally okay, agree. Cool. Well, it looks like you said, the top is not impacted, but we could have some change up in that. I don't know how much motivation that is for some of these guys, especially since they are already in the FedEx Cup playoffs as well. They're just going to go out there and look to maybe pick up an extra $500,000. So
it's got to be some sort of motivation, I would think. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So let's move on to the featured groups here that we have. We have a couple of featured groups I'd like to talk about. The first one, in my opinion, is Koepka, Spieth, and Rose. I think this is a pretty good. You just talked about Koepka as far as class act gentleman on the course. This one seems to me like I feel like since this is such a light week and all these guys are pretty much cemented in to the FedEx Cup, barring like a miscut or maybe. But maybe this is a shot where Justin Rose and Brooks Koepka could maybe get Jordan Spieth back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know I really like watching Spieth play, and it's nice to see him actually do well and make cuts, and not just on the number, but actually be in contention towards late on Saturday, early on Sunday, whether he stays up top there or not. I mean, it's such a great story what he's been through and all that, and I just like his play, I like his personality, and want to see more out of him, more positive results out of him too.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you look at Justin Rose is probably the only one here in danger, and probably not even that much in danger of the top 125. Brooks Koepka sits at 92, Spieth 94, Justin Rose 103. What do you think about this one, Tony? I mean, like I said, this is an interesting group. Jordan Spieth really, I was rooting hard for him in the PGA. It just seems like he can't get right.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a very important group, and I think there's a little bit of history, not necessarily bad per se, with Spieth and Koepka. Koepka talked about coming up that he's doing his own thing. He's doing it his own way. He played so many years on the European side, kind of getting ready to play on the PGA Tour, and he was watching Jordan Spieth from afar. And watching how he prepared for majors, and I know he got close to him for a little while because his goal was to win as many majors as possible, and Jordan was the guy that was doing that for so long and was so well prepared. So I know that they were close for a little while. I have heard that's not the case anymore, Nothing, I don't necessarily bad blood or anything like that, but things change and you move in different directions, and they haven't played together all that often. So I think it'll be really interesting in that sense. And again, I know we usually go and we'll talk about some props in the matches, but I had the prop last week of Jordan Spieth to make the cut at -200, and unbelievably, yeah. I guess he needed a decent score coming in, at least the last few holes, and then certainly have a good second round, and he did. And it's the same exact number this week where I'm at. It's to make the cut -200. So, and I think this situation sets up a whole lot better than even last week did. So I think there's a lot of value there. We'll get into the players and everything such, I guess, in a little bit, but I think it's a pretty good spot. I'm not in love with the pairing for Spieth per se, but I'm in love with everything else that sets up for him here. I think this will be a good course for him. And he's coming in with a reason. He's already talked about how he's here. Doesn't usually play in this event. Obviously, it's the last one, before the FedEx Cup playoffs where you're trying to, rest up and gear up. He's excited to be here, and I believe him. I believe him. He had a pretty extended interview on Golf Channel yesterday. I believe him. So I think we'll see some good results from everybody in this group, actually. I like this group.
Yeah, I feel like this is a group that's not necessarily looking to win the tournament. I think they're just looking to play steady golf.
Sure.
And work on a few things. So I'm not sure, again, we'll get to it with the futures, but I'm not sure this is a good group to try to find the winner in. Yeah,
I mean, why is Brooks playing in this tournament? 6th event in a row. He is dealing with some knee soreness. He's admitted that.
Well, he did say he was going. Once he started the season, he was going. So.
It's great. And I think that to your point, Aaron, exactly that, everyone's asking, why is he here? Well, he's here because, as you said, he's preparing. This is the way he thinks it's best. And, he's obviously playing great golf right now. So why not be here? I think it's a great thing. I really do. I'm with you 100%.
All right, another featured group here with some notables is Paul Casey, Patrick Reed, and Shane Lowry. Patrick Reed is number 6 in the FedEx Cup standings, Casey 54, and Lowry looking in at 131. So here's a guy who really needs to have a good tournament to get into that 125 or better slot. This one, I'm curious. Paul Casey coming off the second place finish. You hope there's not really a hangover from that. But this could be an interesting group as well, Token.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Lowry, he's going to use how they perform, stay on track, and then try and push away closer to later on Friday of the round or throughout the weekend. And he's just going to stay mentally in contention and keeping all his surroundings around him in his mind that he has his control on. I mean, if he makes a top 10, he's pretty much in, is my guess.
Yeah, that's probably a good bet.
I think so.
Despite having that major, last year's Open winner, he's only qualified for the FedEx Cup playoffs twice, last year being one of them. So, I mean, it's not necessarily a guarantee that he's in just because he's a major winner. So that'd be a tough one. He might have a tough weekend here, especially if Paul Casey and Patrick Reed play well. He may feel a little bit of that pressure, even though he's not their direct competitors. He may feel a little bit of pressure thinking that the course might be easy enough that other people are doing well on the course. Now, I know it's easy to check the leaderboard, but you can kind of feel that. I mean, they showed a nice video last week on Casey when Morikawa drove the green, and Casey kind of looked over. And
that was cool.
Although in the interview he was very professional, but you could tell he looked over and he was like, fuck, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the one. So the last group I wanted to talk about here is 3 guys in the top 10. So of the Wyndham Rewards top 10, and we just talked about this whole bonus money. So there could be some little friendly competition here with this. And Webb Simpson, who's number 3, Sung J M, who's number 5, and Brendan Todd, who's number 9. Brendan Todd had a good showing at PGA last week as well. Webb Simpson's owned this course a little bit. I think he's runner up twice, 2 or 3 times, and he's won this event as well in 2011.
Yeah, this is exactly why we love featured pairings and featured groups, is because they're able to do things like this, and this is obviously on purpose to have the top 3 guys and the winner rewards, and I love stuff like this. It'll be great. And there's no doubt, with millions of dollars potentially on the line. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a competition, and especially if guys are close to missing a cut where you get 0 FedEx Cup points for that. It'll be a thing. So. Yeah, it's hard to bet against Webb Simpson, right? I mean, oh my goodness, has he owned this event? And he loves Carolina golf. He's obviously, from the area. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough to bet against a guy like that. He's been playing so well. I'm not sure if he's getting Paul Tesori as caddy back this week. That was they were touch and go. They weren't sure if he'll be back. I do think that matters a little bit for Paul. I know I've talked about that before. It's maybe the most important caddy player relationship out there, or at least up there, with the top other ones. And he hasn't played his best golf the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, we'll see. But, I mean, this will be a good homecoming for him. And, yeah, a really good group. I mean, Sanjay M, you can't ever sleep on him either. He's there every week, plays seemingly every damn week out here. But he's a hell of a player. So, and, Brendan Todd just keeps firing great scores and being on top of the leaderboards. So, yeah, great group nonetheless.
Yeah, Brendan Todd held the first round lead, I think, last weekend at the PGA. So,
yeah.
All right,
you got 3 of the best ball strikers on tour with this group for sure.
Playing well, yeah. He's got a couple wins this year too. That's even with the break, that's kind of hard to do. So, all right. So let's get into the futures, and we'll start with the favorites here, as we always do. The favorite currently right now on William Hill plus 900 or 9-1 is Webb Simpson, the aforementioned, and we will go Webb Simpson all the way down to Sungjae Im. Who do we like in that spot?
So in this top tier, I mean, Webb Simpson, of course, he's going to be the favorite with his prior history on this course. But of this top tier rank of players, I really like Sungjae. I mean, he's got something to kind of play for with the Wyndham rewards and all that. And he's been playing pretty well as of late. So I think he might have enough to get the job done out of these top tier players.
Yeah, it's a tough one here because I feel like a lot of this field is capable of winning this tournament again because it is really a second shot and make a lot of putts. Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of these guys here. I could see certainly anybody winning. I don't think there's a specific type of exact player we're looking for, but from this group all the way, I did get on Billy Horschel. It looks like Kevin Kisner's 30-1 here. Will Hill, wow. So I guess technically I have him as well, but I got Kisner at 50 when he opened up. So Kevin Kisner and Billy Horschel. Again, I'm playing the standard card here, which you'll see going forward of guys from the South, guys that are used to Bermuda, guys that putt well here. And Kevin Kisner is exactly the case. Does really well.
South Carolina boy.
South Carolina guy, RBC Heritage, has played well. There's some similarities to that course. And he's got a good record here as well. So, Kisner's been popping a little bit recently. Played well at the Rocket Mortgage, another Donald Ross course a few weeks back. And I just think this is a good spot for him. He's come way down. I didn't know he was down to 30 over here. But, yeah, so got him at 50. That was nice. And Billy Horschel, I rarely bet Billy. Bet him last week as well. He just was not able to put everything together. He had some really nice ball striking rounds and didn't seem to make any putts. And then he couldn't hit a fairway and seemingly in rounds 3 and 4. So, Billy has some things to shore up. It's not the most comfortable bet to be on, but I really like what he brings here. He's 4 for 4 with, I think, 4 top 30s or 40 top 30s or top 40s at this course. Does really well at Sedgefield. So I like Billy a lot here as well. And those will be the 2 guys I have in this group.
All right, well, let's move on down to the middle tier here. And the middle tier, we'll start with Shane Lowry. We talked about him, who's grinding to get in that top 125. Shane Lowry, to anybody who's in double digits, which is Bud Cauley at 90-1 here. Again, odds provided by William Hill of Nevada. So in this middle tier, we got guys like Charles Schwartzel at 80-1. Token.
Yep. And he actually plays Don Rock's courses fairly well. So, I mean, at that price, I'm not sold on it, but it's maybe one to look out for sure.
Yeah, and there's Jim Furyk also at 80-1 who has a good record at this course as well. Danny Willett, we've talked about, favorite of the show. So who's in this middle tier? I know that Tony's chomping at the bit, but Token, I want to hear who you got.
Yeah, I've got 3 on the radar. One is Matthias Schwab at 80-1. Another is Maverick McNeely at 85. And the last one is, of course, Danny Willett. I think Danny has enough in his bag to get this job done. And he plays fairly aggressive in these situations to come out on top. So
there you go. Yeah, you stole my thunder a little bit with Jim Furyk. I'm not betting him, but I ran across a stat this week. The leader on the PGA Tour in greens and regulation, minimum of 30 rounds. It's not Rory McIlroy. It's not Brooks Koepka. It's Jim Furyk. It's incredible. He's 50 years old.
Did he play the minimum or what?
Well, they had to lower the minimum because he only played about 30. He's played 38 or 39 rounds in the PGA Tour. So if you lower the minimum down to a minimum of 30 or so, Jim Furyk is your leader. So pretty amazing stuff. But yeah, I don't have anybody. I have no bets from this area, but I'm looking towards Brian Harman. I'm not in love with the number of 80. I know he's 80 pretty much everywhere. My number came in around that number, actually, 75, 80. I'm just looking for something better than that. You know, once we get down to this, upper level, I want to be able to have some value, per se. He's only 2 of 5 here in this event at Sedgefield, but those 2 times he has made the cut, he's top 10, both of them. So a little bit streaky, as we know, Brian Harman 2B. He put it a little bit together actually in the last couple of rounds of the PGA Championship. He hit almost 70% of the fairways in the last 2 rounds, which was not easy to do out there, as we saw. So I kind of like what we're seeing there. I'm just hoping for a better number, so I might just wait, see what happens in the first couple of rounds, and maybe bet it in play. Besides that, there are some spots out there, depending on where everybody is betting at, where Jordan Spieth can be had for about 45 or 50, which would come into this middle tier. I know he's not this number currently at William Hill. I think there might be something to it if you can get to 50. And there is the spot out here. I believe the Westgate does have him at 50 here in Las Vegas. I think there's some merit there. I really do. So I have another really large wager on Spieth to make the cut at minus 200. I just think the course fits beautifully. It's a shot maker's spot. Second shots, he can spray it a little bit off the tee. And the key is you can miss the ball to the right a little bit more than the left. So these holes open up a little bit to the right more, and Spieth's misses are to the right off the tee. With 2.5-inch rough, I'm not too worried about it. Spieth is great from 50 to 175 yards. He's one of the better guys hitting the balls into greens on the tour. On putting, he is fantastic, as we know, of a birdie conversion guy. So I just think it's a great fit. I really like the fit here. He's only played here a couple of times in his career, but they've both been in the top 25. So I feel good about that. But I haven't bet anybody in this spot, and I may or may not, but I just think there might be some value here with Spieth in the 45-50 range.
Another guy to look here, Token, is Brandt Snedeker. I think his number is probably a little too high, but he does have that 59. So.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one guy to keep on the radar, but as
gotta
right
get,
now,
gotta get
not
a better
book
number
ticket.
than that.
Yeah.
Get a better number. So, all right, well, let's move into the long shots here on William Hill, starting with another one of Token's boys. Token's got a lot of boys on the PGA Tour.
I do.
call in some favors for us, but Charlie Hoffman at 100-1, all the way down to Davis Love III. It's just like the only way he makes this podcast is because he is the worst statistical odds person every week.
500-1. I'm surprised you didn't take him in a bet yet.
No, I might as well just light that money on fire.
He won here like 5 years ago. He won this tournament, literally.
What's he to make the cut? Let me find that one.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I'm guessing probably right around plus 250-ish.
Every bit of it, yeah, at least.
Yeah.
I'm sure, yes.
All right, so the long shots are here. What do we like?
I mean, as of right now, the current numbers that we have, I think the winner will come from this list.
I agree.
I mean, you got to take in count Cockrack, of course. Zach Johnson that finished pretty well last week. One that I really like this week is one of Tony's boys is Danny Lee.
Oh, wow. Firing Danny. Okay.
I actually think he fits this course very well to his style and aggressiveness. Kind of like Sung King at 200-1. And then
wow. His sister's been crushing on the LPGA. Holy moly. 2 wins in a row. Amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy. No wonder why she's the favorite again.
Yeah, seriously.
Wow. And then my last one on this list is Luke Donald at 250.
Lukey Luke.
There you go. I'm with you. 100% Token. I think the winner comes from this list. This is why this is such a fun tournament. I love it. I could not agree more with you. And that's the type of statement I was going to make. So perfect. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to start firing some guys out. Why not? We got Ryan Armour. I know he popped a little bit for us a few weeks back, again at the Rock and Mortgage, another Donald Ross type of spot. He's actually done really well at Donald Ross courses throughout his time. I think the setup is really good for him. I think he likes this type of golf. 3 for 4 here since the tournament's been played at Sedgefield, 2 top 10s. And one of those top 10s, he was right there. He was 1 back with 5 to play and just couldn't finish it off. But just some really great history here. Hard worker. I picked up on his Twitter. He was working throughout last week. He had the TV on and his little tablet as he was putting and chipping in his backyard. I think he's going to be pretty amped for this one. So I'm liking Ryan Armour here. You can find maybe a better number than 125 if you take a look around. Another guy at 125, I believe, or it might be 150 here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Denny McCarthy. I rarely look at putters, as you know, depending on the week and what it is. This week, I do think the putting definitely matters. Hence, guys like Ryan Armour and Kisner and such. Denny McCarthy.
150 currently on Will Hill.
150. Excellent. That's a great number. Snatch it up if you can. He's one of the best putters on tour. There's no question about it. Southern guy, does putt well on Bermuda. Bermuda and Bent are his 2 surfaces. Might want to avoid him on POA, at least here and there. But these are the 2 he does best at. Reads green really well. Excellent stroke. Ball striking improved the last 2 or 3 weeks. He has improved to well over 65% of fairways hit, and coming into the greens, hitting a lot more greens in regulation, up about 5-6% as well, greens in regulation. So like that a lot there. Will Gordon at 125, again, just a fit more than anything else. Grew up playing courses like this. He's totally hit or miss. He could easily miss the cut here as well, but has all of the makings to put it together. Not necessarily a great putter, but the ball striking, phenomenal from a guy like this. So 125 here from him. And I'll throw out a very, very far-reaching one here. You're going to have to look at some of these other sites or other places. Matt Every, who is, relatively random. I understand that, from Aaron's home state there in Florida. He has done extremely well on Bermuda courses throughout his time. He's got 2 or 3 wins in the PGA Tour. In fact, he won the Arnold Palmer probably about a decade ago. Misses a lot of cuts. Not necessarily a guy you want to be backing all that often, but at 500 to 1, which you can find at Westgate and a few other places, I think there is something here, because when he gets it together, it's foot on the gas. He's a foot on the gas kind of guy. So Matt Every at 500.
I think on my bookie, he was 750 when I first looked at their site.
Even better. Go get the 750 for sure.
Beautiful. All right, and that was the long shots. All right, let's move into the matchup bets here. Token, like you said, this is so far since the restart, this has been your time to shine here, even including the PGA Championship. So we got matchups, we got props. What do you got?
I mean, last week I went, 4-2-1. My only loss was the Rahm over DJ one. And this week I've got 3 on the list with a 4th pending. First one I have is Matthias Schwab over Tom Lewis at even. I have Schwartzel over Fertilli at +105. And then Siwoo over Sung J M at even money. And then my last one is a pick'em between Spieth and Lowry. I like the Spieth side of that.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm sort of against you in one of them. Okay. I do have Spieth over Siwoo, which can be found at MGM. Funny enough, we don't get a lot of MGM type of action here, but and I'm not a big fan of betting on favorites. He's -125 there. I'm not backing Siwoo this week. Siwoo has played every event since the restart. He's missed some cuts along the way, so he's not playing all 4 rounds, but and he had a great week last week. I understand that. It's tough. It's a lot of golf. I know he's got to try to get into the top 125. I get it. There'll be some motivation there, but I just like the setup a lot for Spieth. And Siwoo is a guy that can make some bigger numbers, even on courses that don't really yield a whole lot of big numbers. He scares me a little bit this week. So I do like Spieth there over Siwoo. One other one that I have already bet is my guy who I've been on the last couple of weeks, Christian Bezuidenhout. He's over Henrik Norlander. I know there's a lot of love for Norlander. going forward. And I'm not necessarily totally anti-Norlander, but I do think he's a bit overvalued here. And Bezuidenhout at plus 105 over at Westgate, that's very good. I think that's really solid there. He's a better player than Norlander. I mean, I think that's pretty, like, without question. So, again, a pretty good setup here. Bezuidenhout's a great iron player and a really good putter. Really good on the grain as well. They play a lot of Bermuda out there on the European Tour when they go to the Middle East, and that's where his best results have been out there in the Middle East. So I really like that one. One we're also considering is Horschel over Harris English. Horschel plus 100. I just think Harris is a little bit overvalued here as well. Also played a lot of events and not necessarily the best fit for him here on putting on Bermuda grass. Horschel it is. So haven't bet it yet, but we're considering that one a plus 100.
All right, fair enough. All right, Token, as we do every week, the DFS lineup last week for the PGA Championship, I was keeping track of it on Yahoo in the free contest, and it did pretty well.
It was a good lineup.
Yeah, it was a good lineup.
Yeah.
Put it in a few head-to-heads as well. I put it in 4 different head-to-head matchups, and it went 3-1. So
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's good.
So let's keep the boat rolling here. Let's get you some DFS. Again, this is Yahoo Fantasy or Yahoo DFS, however you call it. It is a $200 budget. And Token, let's get the winner this week.
Yep, and this week we're coming into 3 under budget, and we're going to start off with Paul Casey up top at 40. I see some value with him, especially how he played last week. Second on this list coming in at $39 was Jordan Spieth. I think he's going to have a pretty fair week, possibly right around the top 10 or so, making a eagle decent amount of birdies and avoiding those 2+ bogeys.
Hope so.
Yeah. We got Corey Connors as the third pick,
Nice.
coming in at $34. This guy, he's going to be able to drive the ball pretty fair down the fairway and avoid a lot of trouble compared to the last few weeks of play. I mean, the rough's much more light in terms of that, and I mean, even around the green, he will struggle less this week coming in. So
He's on team no putt though. Token,
Yeah.
can he make putts?
he'll be able to chip it close. So
Okay.
less sweat
All
of
right.
putts. Yeah.
Fair enough.
We got Aaron's boy coming in at number 4, Alex Noren.
I'm warming up to this guy. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, $31 for him, that's excellent value. I mean, I think he has an excellent shot of becoming a top 10 golfer this week of the tournament, not of the world. One guy that me and Aaron I know both like for $30 is Maverick McNeely. I see a lot of value on him for that, and I think he's got a legit shot to win too.
I've already got wagering on him. So
Yep, and then one that I already got a wager on that comes in the cheapest is Danny Willett at $23. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he was that cheap, but I mean his fantasy golf points per week were right around the 40-ish mark, so that's kind of a struggle, and that's probably why he was so cheap. But
yeah, and you even have $3 left for a hot dog token.
There you go.
yeah,
And Maverick's girlfriend is the aforementioned Danielle Kang too, so maybe some good mojo there from her recent wins. Be nice.
yeah, I mean she's been dominating the LPGA tour lately.
Yeah, I would love it. I grabbed the guy at 85-1. Hopefully, I can make a little money off that.
No, I think it's a good one. I like the fit a lot for McNeely here. I mean, I'm a little bit worried about the greens, but besides that, it's a good fit. It's a great course for him.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's going to put a wrap up on the Wyndham Championship. But before we sign off, obviously the PGA is not the only tour going on, and Token has been in love with Korn Ferry action. So I know you guys have some action this week.
That's an understatement.
I know you guys have some action this week on the other tours, so let's hear it.
Yeah, well, Korn Ferry is, it's the Boise Open this week. I got Pernder before he fell down in value. I got him at 33-1. Now he's down to 22.
Ooh, good number.
Good, very good catch on that one.
Yes, well done.
Yeah, I think part of it was due to kind of a struggle-ish week from last week. And then one long shot I like in this one is Ryan McCormick at 100-1.
He's your guy.
I think he has enough to easily make the top 5. It's just how he starts off the tournament. It could be either really out of contention really quick and struggling to make the cut, or up there in the tops of the leaderboard. So LPGA, no action for me. I kind of like, you got the Champions Tour of the Seniors Players Championship this week. And, I like Kenny Perry, but I just am not impressed what he's done lately. So just nothing strikes out to me that much, except for maybe Kirk Triplett at 100-1 for that.
All right. I like it. So quickly with the Corn Ferry, I found it interesting. So Daniel Summerhays, I thought, had retired basically after the Utah Championship, which he almost won. And now I see that he's in the field here in Boise at 60-1. Again, he's born and raised Utah guy, plays at elevation, which they are going to be at pretty high elevation here at Hillcrest in Boise. That's interesting. I don't know why he's coming back and playing, although it's just a name that I'm intrigued by if he's still motivated to play or whatever, because this is his type of course. So I just thought that was interesting. I haven't bet him. I haven't bet Corn Ferry since they played on that one PGA Tour track, TPC San Antonio. But that was just interesting to me. Moving on to the ladies, LPGA. This is a tournament I'm going to watch a lot because I absolutely love links golf. Playing in North Berwick, which is a cool old school course, links course. I'm really intrigued by this. So there's a couple that I have bet here. One, I bet Jody Ewert Shadoff in the first event at 70-1, and she did come in like a top 5 or top 10. She came close. Really great up-and-coming British player. So we have her at 25-1. And the second bet that was made was Madeline Sagstrom, who won once earlier in the season and has quite a few top 10s. Has some links golf prowess. She played quite a bit in college as well. She went to college in the UK and played quite a bit out in these courses. So I like that. There's a couple others I'm looking at, but still unsure. But those two for sure there. And then for the senior players, a lot of good stuff. Bet Retief Goosen at 16-1. I know he's defending over there at Firestone. It's a course he played really well when they were playing the Firestone and the WGCs back in the day. Just his game fits really well for a long, kind of drawn-out, difficult track. Like Retief there at 16. His number came down in a couple of places too, which was nice. I thought about Kenny Perry as well, but you make a good point, Token, that he didn't look all that good in the LI Challenge, and not
that's
sure.
one of his courses that he really likes too.
I know, isn't that weird? Yeah. So there's a chance that he may not have been playing a lot during the break. It's tough to know with the senior guys, because the motivation is not necessarily always there. I'm with you. I'm going to avoid Kenny Perry until we know more. I think that's the right move for sure. A couple other long shots I took. I did get Mike Weir at 80-1. Weirdly enough, when he was playing here in the WGCs, he actually had some good finishes. A guy that he's not very long, clearly, but he just keeps the ball in play so well, and he's so good with a short game that. And I know he's talked about that he is excited to play here now in the senior events. So, we'll see what happens. But at 80-1, I kind of like that one. Also fired at a couple spot downtown, Scott Verplank at 200-1 and Mark Calcavecchia at 300-1. So, we'll see, just taking some flyers. But that was at Circa here in downtown Las Vegas. And they have the whole board up there, even for the senior players. So, yeah, it's wonderful stuff. But that's where we're at here, and going to be trying to watch all of these this week. It's going to be a really, really fun week of golf.
Nothing to make you feel old like hearing Mike Weir on the Champions Tour.
Yeah, right? I know. It is strange, isn't it? I agree with you. Yeah, it's very, very weird. I agree.
All right, so that wraps it up for this week in golf. We have the Wyndham Championship. Very much looking forward to that because we have the culmination of the FedEx Cup's playoffs. We have the Wyndham Rewards Top 10, as Tony so eloquently described for us, now that we've learned something new on the podcast today. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank the sponsors, obviously 12 Ounce Sports Network, Fanatics.com, Zingo TV, Wicked Cuts Jerky, DC4L Custom Tees, Pro-Am Customizations, and, of course, ChaiPoker.com. You saw them scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Check out all the sponsors. keep them in business, keep us in business. Hopefully they'll keep cutting checks our way. So again, for Token Tony, for Tony Johnson, the new and improved Tony Johnson, by the way. I'm loving the headphones.
I still feel like I should be on a sideline somewhere yelling at players and getting plays in.
Just grab their face mask and be like, Maverick McNeely, 85-1.
Come on, get it done.
Fire them all. Fire them all. Fire the whole lot of them.
Putt like your boo. Come on. So I am
Seriously,
Aaron. We
true.
appreciate you listening. We appreciate you watching. Again, check out the sponsors. Check us out at lvsquares.com. Our Twitter handle is @VegasSquares. Good luck on your bets. Good luck on your week. And thanks for watching.